I'm Will Carr, and I'm here to fire you up.
Hey everyone, I'm Will Carr. This is the Will Carr Speaks podcast. Excited to have Cade Smith here with me today, the Athletic Director here at University of Alabama Huntsville. How you doing today, Cade?
I'm good. You didn't start out with where you went to school and all that sort of stuff?
Well, I figured we were going to get into that,
let's
man.
do it. Let's do it.
Figured we were going to get into that. So, yeah, obviously, this is a fun place for me to be. This is a exciting interview to be having because I went to school here. I played basketball here at UAH for 2 years, and what an incredible campus! How awesome it is to be back here, man! And I appreciate the warm welcome that you guys have given me.
Sure.
And just the ability to come back. We're seeing some good basketball be played here this year.
Yeah, hopefully the start of more for the season. So I didn't expect it to be so hot in November to come down here, but we're glad you're here, and I'm sure the place is. Some of it looks the same, and some of it looks way different, probably since the last time you were here.
Yeah, well, Huntsville's certainly grown. It has. It's been 12 years since I've been here, so exciting. Yeah, exciting to be here. It's definitely changed a little bit, but a lot of the same familiar faces, man. I tell you, UAH, the boosters, the same people that used to watch me in the stands 12 plus years ago are still the same people watching the games here today.
Yeah, and some of them were here 12 years before you got here too. So there's a lot of the same, a lot of new ones, but there's a lot that have been here definitely since I've been here and before. So it's a lot of people would be lucky to have what we have, especially at our level, and so we're fortunate with that.
Yeah, definitely. When you can have fans that really care about the school, care about the players, because it's been, like I said, 12 years since they've seen me, but I walk in, they're like, Big Will. Yeah, it's right. Like, hasn't even skipped a beat. They just feel like I was here yesterday.
And they want to win and all that, but they want our student athletes to be good people and to graduate and to get good jobs. And they care about more than the fact that they help us win. And so that's good. And they hold people to that too. So they can keep us accountable for that. So it's all good. All good.
Yeah. Well, and in a day and age when college sports is changing so fast, it's nice to have that stability, that bedrock here in a community, here at a college, that consistency as times are changing. So, kind of with that in mind, let's get into how college sports is changing. Because as an athletic director, as an administrator, you see firsthand the way that the new rules that are being implemented here in college sports are affecting you, are affecting the players, are affecting the way that teams are built, and honestly, the way that teams continue to evolve and build that camaraderie.
Yep.
What do you see as some of the biggest challenges that have come with specifically, I first want to get into the portal and how so many kids are transferring in and out these days. What do you see here at Huntsville and how you feel like that's affecting things?
Yeah, I mean, first off, it's just the grass is not always greener someone else, right? And I think that there are some parts of the transfer portal that I don't really have a problem with, and there's some parts of it that I don't love. I think it's okay if someone gets to a place and it's just not a good fit for them, whether it be athletically or, academically, they switch what they want to do for a career and that school doesn't have what they want to major in. Well, that would be a waste of their time to stay there. And so I see those opportunities for them to transfer as being good. Sometimes it's being homesick and they need to get back closer to family, or they've had somebody in their family that has gotten, terminally ill or sick, and it's better for them to be close. Those are all quality reasons, but just the shopping around, I don't think anybody loves that.
Yeah.
But we have to be active in the transfer portal to be competitive. And so it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. Like, we're able to get some really good players in here because people shop around, but also it's like, how do we keep some kids here? We do not deal with that just a ton. Like, it's, especially compared to our peers, we do not just fill up the transfer portal. A lot of that is more about our institution than our athletic department. There's some pretty important technical degrees that people get at a place like UAH. And so if you're an aerospace engineer, well, there's not just very many places you can go to, right? And so some of that kind of keeps them grounded in Huntsville, and then the jobs that are available here for the STEM related majors that we have, where there's almost no better place for them to be.
There's not another Rocket City.
Yeah, not a ton of that. So so some of that helps us. But yeah, it's a different time in college athletics, and to the point now that we don't talk about the transfer portal like we did 3 or 4 years ago. It's just everyday life. Hey, someone comes in, hey, I think I'm going to get in the portal. Okay, yeah, we'll get you in there. Or coaches are always in there as recruiting, but I still feel like our university still brings in a lot of freshmen. We haven't just completely gone, we're doing all transfers like some people do, and that may work for them, and that's okay too. But for us, we're still trying to develop 18-year-olds to be here 4 or 5 years, and that's still kind of our goal in most of our sports. But it's just not how everyone is able to function, and that's okay. That's okay, but that's where we are.
Yeah,
still.
Do you think a lot of the draw to the portal is kids just trying to get NIL money and think that they can get paid somewhere a little more than where they're at right now?
Yeah, I'm sure that that's the case, although most people that are in that portal were not getting any money, and then are not getting any money wherever they go, and a huge percentage of them don't land anywhere. So I think it's more – I still think most of the time the portal comes back to playing time.
Yeah.
And people want to play if they're going to be there. And if they know they're never going to play, then, they're probably going to go somewhere else. I mean, you have those that are at our level that think they can go compete Division I, and there's plenty of that happens, but that's the exception rather than the rule. I think it still goes back to, hey, I want to go somewhere where I can play. And I would bet that is more times than not the reason for the transfer portal.
Yeah. And I can understand that, because you go to college, you're a good enough player, you're a good enough athlete to get into college and play college sports.
Yep.
It means you're probably a pretty dang good high school athlete.
That's right.
And so you're used to playing. You're used to getting a lot of playing time. And when you go somewhere, that's, as athletes, we want the ability to get on the court, or to be on the field. Yeah. So I can imagine that is probably the primary draw, especially here at the Division II level, because, I think there are some instances in Division II where kids are getting some NIL money, but it's not like these kids are making 10, 20, $100,000 plus dollars. Like,
they're probably not buying
Division I.
Well, not buying cars and stuff.
Right.
So it's not even something that we just spend a whole lot of time talking about. What I do think has changed we'll talk basketball, for instance, but I do think that sometimes, like, the Division I player at the end of a bench that is not playing, they might be able to better themselves more by coming to Division II for a year, averaging 15-8 or something for a season. And then all of a sudden that gets somebody's attention to go back. And then, like, that is happening more. Like, you see that a lot. If you watch, as we're in the basketball season now, at the time we're recording this, once we get into March and we start looking at all the postseason runs, and think, you're going to see plenty of kids that are 22 and 23 years old that probably had some small college basketball at some point in there, and they figured out, hey, they can score there, they can score here, and they take them. Like, I do think that's something that's happening quite a bit, and they improve their stock by going somewhere where they can play. And then they get picked up somewhere else, back to the same school or somewhere else.
I mean, that makes sense. So, like, we just watched 2 men's basketball games over the last 2 days where UAH just put a whooping on the teams that they played. And that's coming after a season where UAH arguably had the best basketball team they've ever had last year.
That's arguable,
And won every single conference game. Obviously won the conference and conference tournament. So with that, I mean, this year's team looks very new. And it's a lot of transfer kids in. I'm curious, are any of the people that transferred in, did they come from any Division I schools?
Let's see. One. I know one did. We have a lot of Division II transfers, especially the ones that have been playing a lot early. But we've had I guess it's just one. Last year was a little bit of an anomaly in college sports because we had 5 senior starters.
Yeah.
And that didn't mean they were all here the whole time. A couple of them had played Division I at one time, but if you can get old, you have a chance to be really good.
Right.
Right. And so that's why I'm trying to, I think 90-something% of our scoring graduated last year. And, multiple of those guys are playing professionally right now. And if they had a year left, their NIL dollar would have been pretty good. They probably wouldn't have been here. Right. So, so to replace some of that, you can't just replace those players individually, but by almost Moneyball, right? It's like their productivity, I can figure out how to do that. So a combination of that was important for Coach, not just do it all with freshmen again, but to try to have a combination of those. But I'm trying to think, 1, 2, 3 D2 kids, 1 Division I kid. I don't know. I didn't do my homework very well, but I think there's only one D1 there, and they were in conversations with multiple of those.
Yeah,
but I think that's where we landed on it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Cade, tell me. So you've been at UAH for a long time. Yeah. Just in the last few years as the athletic director here, but before you were the head volleyball coach here at UAH. Kind of walk me through that transition as being someone that's been in college sports for as long as you have. You've seen both sides of it. You've been on the side as the coach down on the court, coaching players directly. Now you're up in the administrative offices. Kind of walk me through that process of what that's like going from coaching to the administrative office. Some of the things that you like about it, maybe some things that you miss about being more hands-on with kids in practice too.
Yeah, no, I think this first off, what you miss, and it's just the daily interactions with student athletes at a much deeper level than what I have now. I see a lot of them. I try to be present, but it's more, hey man, how's it going? Good game last night. Like I don't know their families like I did for my one little team and their siblings. Like I just don't know as much of that as I did before. I hadn't recruited them and known them since high school, and so that's you miss some of those interactions, and like prepping for big games, and like it's for volleyball, it's postseason time right now. That's fun. So I miss that. Now it's just I'm just constantly either trying to manage resources or get them more resources, whether that be funds, scholarship, people, whatever. And that's just facilities. That's all that I really do right now, is just try to facilitate those sorts of things to try to enhance their programs, which is fun to a certain extent, but also really disappointing because you can't ever give them everything that they need. Right. And the wins in my world take a long time. It's not like that immediate, look back, hey, it was a great match. We won. We saw it. It may be a cultivation of a donor that takes yees, right, to get to something, right? And you got to grind, you got to do that. And that's okay. That's definitely part of it. But I have to almost live vicariously through them on their daily lives, right? So I try to be there. Those are the best things for me, is celebrate when they are successful or win a championship or something. But you don't have as many people. I don't really care, but very few people are going to come up to my office and just say, hey, good, you did a great job. Yeah. It's been a fun year to watch. Like, that doesn't ever happen in my world. Like that would happen some before. It's usually, hey, let me tell you how to do your job. Yeah. So that's a little bit different. But I think being on the other side, you realize like some of the limitations that existed when you were a coach, some things that maybe I wish could get done. And it's just really hard to get stuff done. It's hard in a state institution, the way that money flows and the rules that kind of govern how you can spend, state dollars. There's not just I say this all the time. People come in, they need a problem fixed or whatever. Totally. And I'll be like, hey, I don't just have this bag of money here that's not being spent. Like every dollar we have is allocated somewhere. Right. And so when something comes up, we have to take away from something to fix that problem. And so that's, it's just hard to do that. So, but I think the challenge of leading the department is different than the challenge of leading the team, and hopefully it's just something we can continue to make better for everyone.
Yeah. Talk to me about that from the funding side. Like as a state college, how is there just a certain allotment of dollars the state gives you specifically for athletics, or is it something that the state's giving money to the school and then the school administration kind of has to budget in how much of that they're going to give to athletics? Is it maybe a combination of both?
Yeah, good question. And I'm sure it's not the same from institution to institution, or certainly state to state, right? So, for instance, I know some states in our conference, they can't spend like any state monies on like facilities, or they have these weird rules or whatever.
Okay.
And ours are not necessarily like that. But basically for us, the UA system is going to get a state appropriation, and then it's sent to the different schools within our system, and then the administration at those, for instance, UAH is going to determine what the allocation is that goes towards athletics, right? And so and that's a big chunk of our money, plus whatever externally we can come up with. That's why, when it comes to donors, like the biggest donor for our department is our institution, right? They give us the most money.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's kind of the way it works at our level, where the school is funding most of it.
Okay.
As opposed to, large Division Ones that are probably funding themselves to some degree, and maybe there's an overage there, but for the most part, they're self-funded as their own kind of auxiliary, and they can do that. Well, that's not really the way it works probably at our level.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds to me like you get a certain amount of state dollars, and that is kind of much more controlled in how you can use. But I assume the donor dollars you can really spend however you best see fit for athletics.
Yeah, and you can actually spend all of it kind of the way that you want. But for instance, like if there's something needs to be built, or if something costs over a certain dollar amount and you have to bid it out per state rules or whatever, then, if you're spending, let's say there's a $1 million project, and that's, over the limit, then we have to bid it out. And if that is $1 million donated, you don't have to bid it, but if $1 is a state dollar, you got to bid the whole thing. And so that's why whenever you can get donor funded projects that can fund the whole thing, you can move through it faster. Right? We're on the bid process. We're not worried about some of those things. But it's hard to do that. But we can use those monies. Like we can use our state monies for almost anything we want. There just may be different processes that we have to go through to get it done.
Yeah. So if you have a donor that gives you, and we just said $1 million, whatever, random numbers we're not talking. Yeah. But say you want to build some type of new, I'm looking at the tennis courts out your window right now. So say someone wanted to build brand new tennis courts because there's sports like pickleball or something that's like really exploding right now. Yeah. Someone gives you $1 million to do that. Do you still have to go through and get any type of school approval?
Yeah, no, tons. So there's all sorts of different rules, especially like within our system. If it does something that like changes the aesthetic of the university, there's a certain approval that you have to go through. Okay. If it's just like resurfacing the tennis courts, that doesn't change the aesthetic, even if it changes color, like that sort of stuff. But if it changes kind of the look or the structure or things there
of the school campus,
they've got certain standards that you have to go through. And whatever someone thinks it's going to cost to build something here, because of all that stuff, you need to go ahead and add 30 or 40 or 50% to that, just because of some of that standards and architects that have to get involved, all these different approval processes that are in place, regardless of whether it's us, UAB, UA, wherever, because of that system standard, we've got to meet that. Yeah. So they're, just because their high school did something for a certain amount of dollars doesn't mean that that's going to be the exact amount over here. It's probably not going to be the case.
Yeah. So there's still some bureaucracy that gets involved that can drive up some costs.
Oh, no doubt. It's a lot. So some of the hard costs may be the same, but the soft cost of all the project management fees, like I said, the architects and the drawings and the renderings, all these things that have to be in that approval process. And as the project price goes up, those go up because they're based on percentages, right? Mm-hmm. So it does, you just have to be prepared for that.
Would it be safe to say that that's almost the job description of an athletic director, that you are mediating the bureaucracy between the actual athletics, trying to make sure that it all operates smoothly?
Yeah, no, I think that's that. So I would say, for me, it is to try to take care of our student athletes and our staff, get them everything that they need, some of their wants.
Yeah.
And while doing that, you're responsible for whatever university or system processes, policies, procedures that have to be followed. You're kind of trying to make sure that all goes through. Right. It's not like I just know all those. Like there's plenty of people that help with that, but at the end of the day, it's it kind of falls on my signature line at least.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious because we live in such a day and age where things are such rapidly changing.
Yeah.
We talked about some of the things that are changing within college sports specifically, but in the world as a whole, we're seeing some really radical changes of the way that business operates in general.
Yep.
So I'm curious, are you seeing anything within college sports here in the administrative side where artificial intelligence and AI is changing the way that either the way you work from the administrative side with your staff or possibly the way that your coaches are recruiting or scouting?
Yeah.
Is there any things that you're seeing in college sports? I'm just making this kind of a general blanket statement that you see where AI is changing college athletics.
Sure. Well, I think just first off is just like the data analytics of recruiting and scouting and all that sort of stuff. The stuff that can just like auto generate, even just our cameras that are out at our venues that are following the game and they can tell who's who out there, and just that alone is really pretty incredible. I think even some of the things that are, we're seeing a lot like in the athletics communications kind of unit for our department on plenty of our peers and maybe us some are, AI is generating some of the content and stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it be the social or the website sort of stuff, or even some of the video stuff that may be on there. You're seeing that quite a bit. And I just think of the external side of fundraising and corporate sponsorship and some of the things that, even just renderings, you can do a little bit of, proposals to donors and, hey, this is, I can, it's not going to be the final version, but I'll be like, hey, take this, we want to do this or whatever, because we're trying to name the Will Carr locker room or whatever.
Yeah.
And it generates really good stuff, some really good things. And then we can kind of customize it after that. But I think, we see it a lot. It's not really my world other than I use a little bit of it for some of those things, but I know that it's more common than it certainly was even a year ago.
Totally. Yeah. Well, it's definitely finding its way into business. I use it all the time. Yeah. But I was interested to see how much it's finding its way into college sports administration, because I think that's something you're probably going to see more and more.
Well, especially as we're like, staff shortages and all these different things, and there's people that can do certain things. I feel like I would see it most often that some of the game operation recaps and previews and graphics and content, anything with that, and just the way that we stream and the connectivity of the cameras and everything that's leaving. We talked about trying to set up a podcast we have 6 camera systems out of the baseball and softball fields that connect everything, and then they can do certain analytics off of that. And it's just more and more all the time, and it's a lot of good. You got to figure out how to, every little thing is not all that expensive by itself.
Right.
When you have 20 things, you just gotta figure out what's best and what's needed, and then move from there.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned staff shortages. I'm curious because this is something that I've been hearing from more than just you.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the issues that you're having with staff shortages, maybe here at UAH, and what you are seeing more broadly in college sports in general. What type of positions are hard to fill? And then why do you think there's this issue of being able to find the right staff?
Yeah. And I think for us, it's probably a couple. Like you post coaching jobs, there's going to be people that apply for those. You may not always get the quality that you want, but, don't have a problem with that. If there's administrative positions, I think there's people that are looking for those. It's those jobs in athletic training, even strength training, there's more jobs available out there than there are people to fill them. Some of it's with the academic requirements that they've even placed on themselves, like athletic trainers is now masters required to do certain things. It hasn't been that way forever. And also like in strength conditioning, athletic training, communications, any of those, even like the corporate world is now hiring athletic trainers to come into the Amazon, warehouse to treat and see people and just kind of get them back out there working quicker. And so, they can go to 9 to 5 jobs and have their nights and weekends back.
Right.
And get paid more. It's pretty attractive.
Yeah.
Right? And the communications people, their skill set just is totally built for the remote world and all those jobs that are there. If they're into content, website building and articles and all the stream, like they can do that from almost anywhere. And strength coaches are just, along with the fact that there probably are more jobs available than there are people, you also have the specializations that are happening like at the major college level and the pro level, where like, every sport has their own for everything at Alabama, whereas we have somebody that they have a seasonal position. And so they may decide, hey, I'd rather just go be baseball year round. Instead of like, changing. And some people are like, no, I like having something different to do all the time. And so I think those areas are the ones that I see the most. Certain sports are harder to hire like assistant coaches for. Right. But it's just, that's more geographical, I think, on some. Yeah. But we're actually fortunate that we've been pretty well staffed in athletic training, communications, and strength training. But it's just any day that can change. And we have people in our league right now that literally are hiring out like PRN just on call for all of that because they don't have a single full-time person and some of that stuff. So we're fortunate to be in Huntsville, where maybe not in Alabama, but compared to the country, it's affordable to live here. There's a lot going on here. It's good quality of life, good institution to work at. Pay is above average for whatever line of work it's going to be. So we're fortunate, but it could change in one day. Totally. Stuff. But those are the areas that I worry about all the time.
Yeah. And do you think that is because, like you said, you're fortunate here, but in the Division II athletics more as a whole, do you think it's just because of funding that they don't have the ability to pay those people enough?
Well, I do think that's part of it, and just probably just a cultural shift, maybe a mindset shift of, hey, athletic trainers are medical professionals. They're nearly all master's degree in the health field. Well, we need to probably start paying them like that, right? Yeah. So we've really increased our pay for athletic trainers over the past 5 or 6 years, and because they can go get jobs that pay a lot better. And I do think the days of the barely above minimum wage worker with master's degrees, it's probably gone. Probably needs to be gone. Right. So it's a hard thing to figure out, and less schools are graduating that particular degree, right? Especially with the master's degree that's required. It's just like we don't offer that degree here. It's there's places in the state that do, but right now that's if we lose one, that's a challenge. Yeah. And not all of we have a partnership with a hospital that part of ours are hospital employees and part of them are UAH employees, and it's a challenge. We've got a job posted now that's been posted for a while, but it's probably not going to hire till the right season to hire. Okay. But it's something I worry about a lot.
Yeah. 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 Well, and in some ways, it's always nice to have things in house. Yeah. But in some ways, and this is me speaking as an engineer, outsourcing can be so efficient. There's certain things where you might not need someone in house all the time. Yeah. Like, and you talk about the communications department. Yeah. It's nice to have your communications people in house, but when people can do things so remotely these days, it's also pretty easy to outsource some of those things. The people that don't have to be here in the office, they can be remote. They can be on their computer working from a coffee shop wherever they're at. I was going to say in the country, but they could be anywhere in the world working on your guys' content, producing that stuff. getting some of those communication things done. Now, this is an aspect of college sports that I'm very familiar with, being that I have my nutrition company, Genesee Nutrition.
Yeah.
One thing that I see happening, especially in small college sports, is this increase in college athletics taking fuel stations very seriously, knowing that you need to fuel your athletes, get your athletes good quality nutrition, whether it be good proteins and fats, hydration, whatever you're going to need to keep them performing at the highest level. And so my question to you, and obviously you guys have been a great partner at Genesee Nutrition for a few years now, but when did you, because this used to be a thing that really only existed in like high level Division I sports, it was your Alabamas, it was the big SEC or the Power 5 conference type schools that were providing this to their athletes. When did you start to see a shift in, because you've been here at 13 years? How many years?
This is year 13.
13 years here at UAH. When did you start to see that shift of something that being that was thought of and recognized as something that was more important?
Yeah, I first off, some of the rules like on what the NCAA allows you to give away, right, has changed over time too. Right?
Yeah.
The food tables and that sort of stuff, and who can get stuff there, like they pretty much just took all the regulations off that for the most part. So that alone, I think it's more when people are so much, they're recruited so differently now, and like people will generate their list of their needs based on things that I don't think should be at the top of their list, but it may be like the shoe brand and the color, and they got all these things, and they go to different schools and be, I like that, and I'm always like, do they have the degree program that you want? So I think it's been a little bit of a shift in just what are people looking for, and sometimes I say this all the time, and I say it like as a throwaway comment, but I also kind of mean it. Like we have some things that allow us to say yes whenever recruits ask, do you have anything in this space?
Yeah.
Right. Well, they're going to have a little bit of NIL help, some advice or some opportunities. Yeah, they're going to have some of that. They're going to have some nutrition opportunities in there, some things that we're going to provide for them. Not only just education, but also some of the goods too.
Yeah.
It's going to be there. If it's going to be, the dedicated strength coach, you're going to have one that is your person. Is it going to be, you name it, whatever. Is there an academic space here? Is there a mental health counselor that's just for athletics? I've worked really hard at trying to be able to say yes to all of these things that I think we've probably lost athletes in the past over. Not that any of those are not important, but I think that the list of priorities, some of them have been out of whack for those particular kids, and they're sometimes looking for a reason to not go there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And because the things we still have is we've got Huntsville, and we've got a pretty awesome research institution that's going to produce high level degrees, right? That's going to be there. And our teams are probably going to be competitive, and people are probably going to come to games, and so for a small college athlete, that's above average on most things. And so trying to figure out all these other things that we can at least attempt our best to say yes to has been important. And then, but also while you're saying yes to it, it's also valuable too, right? It's not that it's not valuable, but we're going to spend some resources on trying to make some more things available to you. Because in the end, here's what happens a ton, as you know. Kids ask for things all the time, and then don't take advantage of the things that you provide for them. But you still got to keep providing it. Right? So it's like the whole problem with the cost of universities right now. Everybody's complaining about it. Well, the consumer has demanded that all these things be there,
right?
And then you want to have a lazy river in your dorm. You can have it, right? But here's what it costs to go to school here, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I get backwards on some of this example. Stuff, right? So we do not have a lazy river.
No lazy rivers here at UAH.
So you can get a tube in the creek if it floods, but it's just so these things. So some of the reason for change is consumers.
Yeah.
Just like anything else that hits us too. Just we can't do some of the things at the scale. Like, if you go to Alabama, like we don't have a football dining hall.
Right.
But if you get through working out and you want to grab one of your bars or something down there so you don't eat a donut on the way to class.
Yeah.
Well, that's better for that period of time until you can get something better. Like that's
absolutely.
It's like that conversation of just how can we at least help them get to the next healthy meal?
Yeah.
If they've got to have something, all right, well, hey, here's some chocolate milk or something you can put in your drink that's got some electrolytes or that, or a protein popsicle, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
We're going to try to have some of that stuff there, or we'll send, I think probably all the suites have boxes of your stuff in there that can go with them on the road. Like someone's in the middle of a game and they've got to have something, it hit you at some point playing, right? Just
need some fuel,
need something. Right. And so just be able to help them make good choices and us be able to provide some of that. That's, got on a soapbox there for a second.
Yeah. That's good, man. I like it. That was fun. Well, yeah, I mean, just to wrap up, what a great place to be. I appreciate you talking with me here, Cade. This has been a lot of fun. It's been a fun weekend for me coming back and just seeing so many familiar faces and getting to watch some good UAH basketball really brings me back to the old days being here and seeing the different boosters, seeing different friends that still live
here. You saw some teammates, right?
I saw some teammates,
your coaches, and
I saw my old assistant coach. I saw my old strength and conditioning coach while I was down here. It's been really great. So I mean, just to close up, I want to thank you for having me here and hosting me for a great weekend. But also, any closing thoughts that you have just in regards to college sports, maybe what what it means to you to be here in Huntsville, and what maybe just what's your favorite thing about being an athletic director at a school such as University of Alabama Huntsville?
Yeah, well, to answer that question, it's just like I think priorities are in check here for the most part. And so like my pocket speech or whatever, if I'm presenting to a civic group or whatever, is college sports are frustrating right now. But a lot of people are frustrated depending on who they cheer for on a Saturday in the fall. Right?
Yeah.
And they're just like, that's not the way it ought to be and all this stuff. And I get it. Right. And so, and hardly any of that stuff that they're frustrated about is the kids' fault, I might add.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing that I like about here is, for the most part, kids are still paying part of their way. Mm-hmm. They're coming here because of the academic degrees that are here and to be competitive at a good program. It's a safe environment for people to bring their families around and to be around our kids. They're good in the community. They're probably going to come say hi to you after the game and yes, sir, and no, sir, and all that sort of stuff. And so I say, when people are frustrated with, however they paint college athletics, I'm just like, come to one of our practices or come to one of our games and you'll feel better about it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's still pretty pure here. And so I think I'm just most proud of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good thing to be proud of, man, because in this time and age when so much is changing, to be at a school that still has their priorities right and still cares about the kids first and foremost and has the ability to really put the kids first, keep the kids here, to be able to build them into the people that they need to be long term in order to succeed in life. Because that's ultimately what it's about. College sports is going to end.
That's right.
And maybe, like we mentioned, some of the basketball guys, they're getting to play overseas for maybe a few years, but then their career is going to end pretty shortly too. And so,
but I also say like those big school, like they all want that too, right?
Yeah.
They want the same thing, and for the most part, they're still accomplishing that. It's just that people don't see that. They don't see the way everybody's pouring into some of those kids, not on game day, right? Mm-hmm. It's just, I feel like for us, we can give access to people so that they can see it firsthand. So I definitely don't want people to, when I say those, to come away and be like, big time college sports is all, they're not about the kids, because I don't think that's true.
Right.
Right. They're just viewed through a different lens.
Yeah.
Right. And so just, but I welcome people to look through our lens.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I think it's great, man.
Cool.
Well, Cade, thanks so much. Appreciate the time.
Yeah.
It was great talking to you.
Go Chargers.
Yeah, go Chargers.
I'm Will Carr, and I'm here to fire you up.